What's up, everyone, and welcome to the TCG Cast Community Spotlight number Mario's Gaming World. Can you believe it? We have the head honcho of Digimon himself on the show to talk about himself. That's right, you guessed it. Mario, we're huge fans of yours. We love everything that you do. But for the viewers who might not know, which I doubt there's any, but just for those who might not know who you are, why don't you give us a little bit about yourself?
Sounds good. Hi everyone, my name is Mario. I am the owner of MariosGamingWorld, which is a store, but is also the Twitch, the YouTube, my Discord server, Facebook. That's one big entity, MariosGamingWorld, where we make a lot of Digimon videos and content right now.
Indeed. You're starting a new metaverse. You'll move over Facebook. You got some competition.
But yeah, let's go.
We'll start off with an easy question for you. Who is your favorite Digimon and why?
A lot of people might know this. My favorite is actually Omnimon. I grew to love Omnimon as soon as I saw the first Digimon movie. I thought he was completely badass, just destroying 10 million Diaboromon or however many there were there. And I was like, no way, that's sick. And it's a fusion of like two actually really likable Digimon that I liked as a child. So I'm like, favorite Digimon, and it's honestly stuck with me until today.
Yeah, that's a respectable choice. I'll allow it.
Thank you.
The correct answer was Eosmon, though.
Okay.
No. Okay.
Because I can now run 50 Eosmons in one deck. And when I tell you that's going to be the new meta soon as I bust it out and win a tournament with it, you want to see 50 Eosmons on my field? I got you. Easy. Who cares about decking out because I know what's coming next?
Oh, man. Oh, no.
Hey, so let me beat this RNG.
Yeah, by not having RNG. I might throw one Manoa in there just for shits and giggles.
Just the one.
Just one.
Maybe a cutting edge.
Oh my goodness.
But yeah, we're glad to finally have you on the show. It's been a long journey, and when we started the TCG cast, we had 3 people in mind that we wanted to, like, when we first rolled out this community spotlight program. It was you, it was True Champ Steve, who we had on a couple months ago, and it was Post Malone, which we're getting closer by the second to getting Post Malone on the show. But yeah, y'all were the top 3 that we wanted to have on the show. And now here we are with just one more left. So Post Malone, if you're watching, please hit my line. You know, I'll send it to you. Hit me in the DMs.
I know when that hotline blinks.
Exactly.
That can only mean one thing. I'm sorry I had to make that joke. I had to. You just set that up for me, and I just.
So you mentioned that you run a shop. If you can or want to, why don't you dive in a little on what it's like to run your own shop? I think you mentioned it in one of the streams one time, but for the viewers here.
Sure. For all of you viewers, this little place of slice of heaven I like to have is one of the businesses that I own and run. It's the smallest one. It's definitely the smallest scale that I own. It was originally meant to be opened up because the previous card shop in small little Belleville, Ontario, where I'm located, they decided to say, no more card tournaments. We're done with that. We're going to go back to just the pawn shop roots. So that left the Yu-Gi-Oh players, the Magic players, the Pokemon players, and the DBS players without anywhere to play. So I'm like, I was vending cards at the time, and I just thought, maybe I'll open up a space and actually have a home for all my stuff instead of a bag or my bedroom. And it eventually just turned into more of a thing. And I had sealed product, and it turned into be some massive thing. We started the YouTube in early 2020, and it's just grown. And like this tiny little card shop is so well known because of everything that's going on. And like nobody's been able to visit because of COVID. It's been awful. But, we're a card shop that has survived COVID. Yeah, and we're still surviving. We're still going. Still sucks, but we're not dead. Not dead in the water. Haven't been destroyed. So Yeah, it's just it's really simple and straightforward. You gotta start small with a card shop though. You can't just start off big because it might that'd be terrible. You start small. You buy a little bit of product. You sell a little bit of product. You snowball. You rinse and repeat. And that's honestly just the goal. And it's nice to be able to interact with card players because card players are actually cool people sometimes, and they're nice to socialize with. You know what I mean? So the community here locally is great. The online community I've met through the Digimon card game, really really nice people. Definitely not a toxic community for the most part, which is really cool. And yeah, honestly, it's just a nice little part-time, nighttime business that I run. And when there's not COVID, people come in and play card games, and they enjoy themselves. And we'll order food, and they'll buy cards, and I'll buy cards off them. And we'll go to all the big tournaments, the regionals, and whatever. And it's one big wholesome experience. So I love it, despite the fact that it's my smallest business. It's definitely the one that I enjoy the most. So that's good.
I understand. Yeah, it must be like surreal the first time you open the doors. Yeah,
it was really cool. It was technically a dream, like a goal when I was 16. I was 16 years old when I went to my first card shop ever, and I'm like, this is really cool, and I do want to own businesses at some point in my life, but at some point I would like to try the card game business. So when it actually happened, I was like, oh boy, this is really nice.
Yeah, that's one of my dreams to open. I want to have my own brick and mortar, like card shop / comic books, because I'm really into comic books as well. And I used to, when I went to college, I would, during my breaks freshman year, I would ride my bike down to the local comic shop that was a block away from the college, and I would sit there and I would hang out with all the comic book nerds who were a good 40 years older than me. And I'd read comic books, and then I'd listen to them talk, and then I'd go right back to class, and then come to my break again there. But yeah, it's been a dream of mine for a while too.
Very nice. I hope we get it.
Yeah, me too. Have you heard the word about the band list? And if so, what are your predictions?
We've heard about the word already.
Here we go.
For any of you that may not know, I had a whole Twitch stream, an hour or so, dedicated to everyone else's ban list predictions and hot takes according to Facebook. And man, let me tell you, the amount of people that want Hammer Spark banned.
Yo, I saw that video and I was like, what? Hammer Spark? Yo, relax.
For real, assuming this is a Japanese ban list, solely based on Japan, I'm going to go just based on what I know. Ice Wall should be knocked down to some number.
Sad.
Mega Digimon Fusion probably shouldn't exist, unfortunately, because that card only scales as the game gets crazier, and it's already crazy now. So can you imagine, like, some ridiculously high-powered level 7 comes out at some point, and it's just, oh, by the way, I'm free, and then just win the game? You know, that I think that could happen one day, and I think that the card should probably go. And really, I would not be surprised if we saw the reinforced memory boost hit down to some number, and maybe Argomon gets a copy or two back. Maybe. Solid maybe. But honestly, I think that's it. The reason I think that's it is because you can't hit too much going into a set. You can't hit the D-Reaper stuff. Otherwise, you know, it won't sell as much. You can't really hit Save Your Huckmon right now because it's going to sell future product for you. The fact that the card exists in the first place. It's just a good card. Some people think it's broken tier 0 dumb, but it's really not. It's a good card, though. Don't get me wrong. And, you know, some other cards that are okay, like Icemon, the Scattered Mode thing, and a couple other cards that are doing damage in the OCG right now, or BT8, EX02 meta. But to be real, I think all of those cards will get replaced inherently as the game's power creep continues. That's my opinion. They might be problems eventually, maybe in tandem with other cards, but that's what I think. That's my 2 cents. Unfortunately, we're in a weird spot where we don't have enough data. It's not like a Yu-Gi-Oh ban list, a Konami ban list, where they've been doing this multiple times a year for the last friggin' almost 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of know how they work by now. You can make reasonable predictions. Bandai has done one in this card game, and they've errated a few cards.
Yeah.
So it's not enough data to be able to 100% predict for sure. We can make good guesses, but at the end of the day, who knows what Bandai's going to do, right? Maybe they think Ice Wall is healthy. Maybe Bandai thinks Ice Wall promotes healthy play.
Please.
I don't know. You know what I mean?
I have my
whatever.
playset. Please, Bandai, hear me.
I just got one.
Do you think reinforcing memory boost drops below 2?
I think it's possible. It's definitely the strongest memory boost in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Teetering on maybe too strong. Like, it's definitely a very, very, very powerful card.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even in current BT6 English format, Reinforced Memory Boost is putting in so much work. And we haven't even hit BT7. We haven't hit BT8 shenanigans with friggin' hybrids. Like, no. It's definitely a lot crazier in Japan for sure, but even here it makes waves. So it is a good card for sure.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, reinforced memory boost with the yellow hybrid deck, all busted.
Yeah,
busted. I do agree with you. Like I was telling Spencer here, I believe like earlier today, maybe even yesterday. Like as is, and I'm sorry, I'm the filthy security control player. But even I know that like reinforced memory boost is that is busted. It's basically like Izzy but with extra steps. And it's fantastic. And I can just pop it, gain 3 memory, and then play another one. Like, of course, if I have like my memory tamer out, just crazy, busted, absolutely busted.
Yeah, it's pretty disgusting, and it's pretty it's versatile as well. We saw it in Agubond earlier. Agubond placed second in our tournament, and he was running yellow with reinforcing memory boost in it.
It's literally the only memory boost that adds anything to your hand. You play a red memory boost, you have to add a red Digimon, right? You can't add a Sistermon if you're playing Jessmon, you know what I mean?
Right.
But that memory boost can add anything to your hand, and it can put anything in security. Sometimes you whiff and it feels bad, but usually you're getting value out of either the card you add to hand or either the card you put in security. Sometimes both. And then the 3 memory is just too much.
Yeah, I think we saw the biggest instance of it being broken. I mean, obviously Agumon didn't win, but he played reinforcing memory boost, pulled out a Wyvern's Breath and a tie right after. And we were sitting there, we're like, well, you don't have to think about what you need to do here. Because you just gained Wyvern's Breath into security, and then you just drew tie for free into your hand. Yeah, it was that's the biggest instance of it being broken. And it wasn't utilized to its fullest effect, but still, it's pretty disgusting. I don't know if they ban Ice Wall or just limit it. If they limit it, I don't think it goes below 2.
Yeah, I think they're going to limit it, honestly.
And
then
I could see 1 or 2. I don't really know. Again, it's whatever Bandai thinks is most appropriate, which we'll find out when we find out. Got about a week or so.
Yep. And speaking of card games, that's what we're here for. What got you into card games? What was your first one? And why have you gravitated towards Digimon now?
You want the story. All right.
Yes, let's talk about the Yu-Gi-Oh! Origin story.
Let me tell you here. Okay. So, technically, the first game I ever played was Pokemon. Technically. My parents would buy me, or my grandparents would buy me the Game Boy games. Red, Blue, Yellow, eventually Gold and Silver. Get the Game Boy to play them. And they saw that I really enjoyed Pokemon. So, they bought me, Pokemon packs. And, I really enjoyed the concept as a child that I could learn so much from playing Pokemon. You learn math, you learn reading, you learn problem-solving skills to some degree. And you got to build decks. That's a creative thinking process, right?
Multitasking.
Multitasking. It's very hands-on, and I'm a very hands-on type of guy, so that helped a lot. And it was mainly Pokemon. And yes, I dabbled with the Digimon. Where is it? Where is it?
The OG.
This stuff. We dabbled with this when it first came out, when I was 7 or 8. A little bit of dabbling. Nobody knew the rules at my age. Nobody could know the rules. So it was just like, oh, wow, we'll just do rock, paper, scissors, which is basically kind of how it worked, sort of. So that was cool. But then Yu-Gi-Oh! Came out in the TCG when I was in grade 4, I want to say. And I was into the show as well. And I'm like, hey, can I get some packs, parents? And I get a pack at a time, whatever. It wasn't anything crazy. But I really did enjoy the game. It was a different kind of game from Pokemon. Now you wouldn't even compare Yu-Gi-Oh! Back then versus Yu-Gi-Oh! Now. Anyway. So, technically, Yu-Gi-Oh! Was the first game I went competitive with. When I was 16, when I went to the card shop for the first time, it was Yu-Gi-Oh! Locals. So the very first deck I bought to Locals was the zombie structure deck, the one that came with Red Eye Zombie Dragon. Synchro era, back when Plague Spreader was coming out. It didn't come with Plague Spreader, but I remember asking my parents, okay, so I'm playing at this card shop, right? And there's this Plague Spreader zombie card, and it's $40 for an Ultra. I've been good. Can you please buy? So they bought me one on eBay, and that was really cool. But eventually, it kind of snowballed from there, and I want to take the game very, very, very seriously. I just needed something to dive into in terms of a card game. So we did that, and I was 17. Went to my first regionals, got my invite right away. And since then it started a positive trend of card game stuff. I got into Pokemon for a little bit. Ended up winning a Battle Roads tournament with the Zekiel deck. I don't know if you know what that is. You've heard of that, but it was black and white era of cards. And okay, let's fast forward to today. I've played different card games through. I've tried Vanguard, Magic, freaking a little bit. Card Wars, Adventure Time, freaking Hearthstone. I did Hearthstone. Did Weiss Schwartz for a bit. Force of Will for a bit. I tried a lot of card games. I didn't really stick to many, but my bread and butter throughout the years was Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! With a side of Magic, a small side of Magic, because my childhood friend only plays Magic, so I still keep up a little bit for him, Modern and Draft. But Digimon came out. There was big word of Digimon, and me being a card shop owner, people were messaging me locally saying, hey, can we get this card game here? And I've seen card games come in and flop. Big time. I've seen it. And I was like, okay, we've already seen a few Digimon card games that didn't succeed. Are you sure you guys want to do this? And they're like, yeah, we'll try it. And I'm like, okay. So, thankfully, because I was already doing Bandai things with Dragon Ball Super at the time with my card store, we were allowed to hold the very first Digimon pre-release. Back at the end of November, and got boxes and everything, and we could actually start our Digimon community here. And people would come and actually play Digimon here in Belleville because we were one of the only stores in a kilometer radius of very far distance to just have it, which was neat. And then we got the bright idea of, what? I built a solid YouTube base before Digimon had 4,000 subs or whatever. I'm like, Digimon might be a good stepping stone to grow the brand, grow it, see what happens, and it ended up taking off. Actually, I've seen more success with Digimon than I thought I would, really, because it's a small card game, right? You either get in right away or you don't. And there were people like Steven and a few others that were doing content as soon as the game came out in Japan, basically, or a little bit after that. So, I didn't get in at the beginning, technically. But I started when the game came out in North America at pre-release. And it was simple, doing a deck profile here and there, an analysis video. I am the Market Watch guy. If I have a YouTube accomplishment for Digimon, I am the Market Watch guy.
Mario's Market Watches.
Literally, like there are so many people that like come find me because of my Market Watches, and they subscribe because of my Market Watches, and they come to Twitch and they're like, "Oh yeah, I love your Market Watches." Yeah, I bet. Anyway, so that's really cool and all. So with Digimon being as successful as it was in the game, there's a lot of interest in the game. So I just thought, you know what, let's just keep doing Digimon. Unfortunately, I thought I'd have more time to play it. Like as soon as regionals were announced, I played in the first 4 regionals, and then my life got just super busy with other things. But we're still keeping the Digimon content up because people really want to see it. People are really pissed because of COVID and set delays and stuff. But I think some people understand, not everyone, but some people understand it's not Bandai's fault.
Yep.
Not really. It's the world. It's the world we live in. When we enter Christmas time season and all products, a lot of toy products are delayed. It's not just Bandai. It's a lot of different toys, a lot of different products, in a lot of different fields. And it's whatever. But besides those salty spittoons, people love Digimon, and I love making content for it. And I have a sense of recognition where I can say, you know what? Thanks to me starting a Digimon part on my YouTube channel and making it what it was, people have come into the game. Legit. And I can say that I've helped with that. And I've given people knowledge. And in the tournaments I have played in, I've been able to back up, hey, I can walk the walk. I'm not some guy that just makes deck profiles and stuff, you know what I mean? So that's where I'm at. A little bit of a long-winded answer, but I found my way into Digimon basically because I've played card games before, because I owned a card shop. People wanted me to bring it into the card shop, so I did. And then I thought, you know what, YouTube it, let's see what happens. And then it turned into Twitch, and let's see what happens. And it's been good to me, so I'm giving back to the community because they've given so much to me. So much of their time, so much of their patience. We're just going with it.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. And I think Digimon has it's been the funnest thing I've watched grow. Like I grew up watching. I mean, I was born like a year after Magic was released. I was born the year Pokemon was released, but I grew up playing Pokemon and watched it grow as a kid. But now that I'm adult, it's been so fun and amazing to watch Digimon evolve into what it is now today.
Yeah, I'm really proud of the community that has developed from it. In trying times as well. Like, COVID did not help it, but the fact that people are so passionate about it and so pissed about it at the same time, people really want to play this game, which is a good sign. And in a year or two, when everything returns to normal, I think this game will seriously boom.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely. And it's not even Digimon, like you said, that has the shipping delays and stuff. Pokemon, the biggest IP in the world, cuts cards from their sets. They still have shipping delays. I remember, what was it? Battle Styles was really hard to get, not just because of the scalpers, but because they didn't print enough product on release. Evolving Skies, I think, hit that problem, and then we had Celebrations right after that, and Celebrations was limited printing, but not really limited printing. So yeah, Magic is pretty consistent, but they've been around for God knows how long, 200 years at this point, and they're Wizards of the Coast, so they run Dungeons and Dragons too.
Yeah, which is every card game's felt it. Yu-Gi-Oh continues to feel it. They've had just as much. They've had more delays than Digimon have, believe it or not. But you don't see people complaining to the same degree, which is super interesting. I guess because Yu-Gi-Oh is already established, and people are just like, whatever.
And I think with Digimon, with it being so new, people don't want these long-winded metas as well. So, we're getting BT6 for another, what's today's date? For another 2 months here in North America, with a little bit of EXO1 sprinkled in there. But yeah, I think I understand where they're coming from, but patience is definitely the key, especially with a new card game. We've talked about that before on our podcast. Yes. It's interesting that you brought that up too.
I talk about it all the time. All the time. People will ask my opinion about it because I have business background and when people hear me talk about it, they kind of feel better about it. I've de-escalated a few people that I've had conversations with, like, I get that you want to quit, and I get this sucks, but it doesn't matter what card game you want to play or you go to next, unless it's Magic, you're probably getting some kind of delay or some kind of product shortage or some kind of ridiculous card prices because of lack of product. And I'm just telling you, it's going to be fine. It's going to be a rough period of time until the world returns to normal. It'll be fine. And then people are like, okay, yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I definitely agree too. And I know, and kind of to transition back to kind of what you were mentioning earlier about how like you're streaming and you're a big player, at least in my opinion, to the Digimon community. I know I've seen you not only compete, but I've seen you also commentate over different Digimon tournaments. So, do you prefer to play or to commentate or both?
I like both. As of currently, though, I am preferring commentating, and I actually have 4 reasons for it. Some are really simple, some are a little more complicated. The first reason is just because of everything going on in my life right now with my other businesses and stuff. I just do not have the time to sit down and do quality playtesting. So commentating is easier. That's the first reason. The second reason is because, let's say I'm streaming a regionals, whatever. Back when I was streaming the regionals, and it was 8 or 9 rounds of the same deck. While people are entertained and engaged in watching me play, first of all, you might get bored of it. Second of all, what are you doing in between that time? You know what I mean? There's no action going on. You're just socializing with me, which had its dull moments in between regional runs. And I'd have a long match and I'm mentally drained and whatever. So when you're commentating, that doesn't happen. If the match you're watching finishes, great, next table, and then you just pick up where you left off. And there's always games, and there's always different decks. You're not watching me bushy GG people for 9 rounds in a row. You know what I mean? And as funny as that is, like as comical and as well thought out that was, at least people are seeing different decks, variety, exciting things, maybe cards and tech choices, or decks as a whole you thought you'd never see in BT6. So, whatever. So that's reason number 2. Reason number 3 is because it actually allows me to socialize with my live Twitch audience while I'm doing it. If I'm playing in a tournament, I cannot socialize while I'm playing in the match. I just can't do it. They gotta wait till after. But if I'm commentating, I can literally do both.
Yep.
And some amazing conversations will arise just out of nowhere. Somehow, the last tournament I commentated, we were talking about LimeWire and friggin' MP3 players, and like that conversation stuck for like 10 minutes, and we were just talking nostalgia times, and that was just really freaking cool. And the fourth reason, the final reason I wanted to do commentary is, believe it or not, just to kind of bring more depth to the card game itself. Again, it's also kind of like a community type of deal here. If it's just me playing in tournaments or playing against viewers or doing whatever, you're only seeing everything from my side of the coin, and that helps grow the community, sure. But if I'm commentating a tournament, we're interacting with the Gaia Force Gaming boys, we're interacting with the Digi Academy boys, we're interacting with the TCS boys, so on and so on and so forth. And, because of it, because of being able to commentate, I now have good, communication with all of these different people. So it actually helps grow the community. It helps me get involved in the community more. And it just opens more opportunity for more collaborative stuff down the road. More projects, more future stuff. 4 reasons. That's it.
I think I agree with all those reasons. And I don't know if you can relate, but at my skill level that I'm at now, I think commentating is my best option, because I don't know if I could go in and compete in a big tournament and expect to do well while providing quality content to the viewers who are watching. Yeah.
It's just, it would be a massive feels bad where, like, I had one regionals. The very last regionals I played, I got 3 for 3 invites on the first 3, and I'm like, you know what? We'll bring a fun deck to the last one.
Mm-hmm.
No one can get angry about me about gatekeeping, which was actually like a small point. People got upset that I was just playing all the regionals. And I kept telling people, yo, we're going to get more regionals. Relax.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be fine. And people were like, oh, he's gatekeeping, you know, he's going to play in all 4 regionals and that's it, and blah, blah. Like, oh, my God. Anyway. So the last one, I played a fun deck, right? I played Greymon Tribal. I made it to like round 5 or 6 before I went X2, and I'm like, okay, that's enough. So like, I ended the stream early, didn't finish out the tournament, but like, I couldn't imagine. I want to be careful how I word this. I could not imagine trying to compete for my invite while live streaming, playing a good deck that I want to get my invite with, and then going X2 drop early on. Yeah. I feel like that's a big disservice to your streaming audience. It's a big disservice to yourself, and you know, if you're gonna do it, you gotta do it right, and you gotta put in the quality time to play test, and you have to be able to manage multitasking. You know, you have to be able to focus for your match and then talk to your audience and not intermingle, and be able to play well with everybody watching you, which can be nerve-wracking sometimes, to say the least. But yeah, and there are other streamers that have been down that road. They'll play a good deck and then they'll scrub out, and it's just a big feels bad. It's depressing. It's sad. If that was me, you know, if I played the very first regionals and like I was playing Yellow War Grey because it was the only BT4 regionals. It started as BT4 for some reason, whatever. But like, if I like scrubbed out round 5, I would have like been pissed. Like, you know. Yeah, I think commentating is definitely never a bad play as long as you're good at commentating, and as long as you can interact with your audience, keep them engaged. Yeah,
I agree. Me and Isaiah commentated today. We had Gyrosh on for the first 2 rounds, I believe. He did phenomenally, and that was fun to have him on. We also had one of our moderators in the server. Since he's not back at university to play, he came and sat on the commentating couch with us, and that was fun as well. But yeah, I think it takes a lot of skill just to play this game, and then it also takes a lot of skill to be able to play the game well and to commentate on top of it while you're playing. And like you said, there's that disconnect while you're playing, and you don't know if your hand is going to go until round 50 or not, until 50 minutes in the round and stuff like that. So I definitely agree.
Yeah, I definitely agree too. I know, because I've not to like throw my stuff out there and whatnot, but I got my invite to nationals, and I've been like kind of like thinking about streaming it and whatnot. And kind of like what you were saying, like how you're saying, like you couldn't imagine like somebody like trying to like perform at a high level while also trying to entertain. And I know me, and if I like went like kind of like what you were saying, like X2 and like in the early game, oh, I'm gonna be pissed. And there's no way that I would be like in that mentality to like also be like the entertainer for like the people. I'd be the competitor, and I'd be like, okay, yeah, no, I'm out. Sorry, peace. Nope. Screw everybody. I'm out. Yes, but with kind of on the topic of entertaining people, I know that I've watched your streams multiple times, and I've watched some of like your regional championship, or sorry, not regional championships, but regionals, and you've played a multitude of decks. But I think the one deck that I thought was very funny for you to play was your yellow Rookie Rush deck, in which it was a deck where nobody at all played, and essentially, I believe you got second place, am I right, with that deck?
With the pure yellow Rookie Rush, I came 16th.
Came 16th? Okay. Yes, but that essentially kind of started the Bushy GG meme for you. So could you kind of talk about that and a little bit more?
All right. So the 3 regionals that I topped right away. I played 3 different yellow decks. The first time it was still BT4 format. BT5 wasn't legal, even though the set was out. So I played yellow war gray, and I was bushy GGing people. But at the time, I didn't realize it would turn into a meme. I thought, you know what, Angelomon and Bushy are just good cards. Blinding Ray is a great card. Clearly, this deck is tier 1 for a reason, and if I'm going to get my invite right away, I'm going to play the best deck of the format, which in BT4 was Yellow War Gray. So, and people got a kick out of the occasional Bushy for game moment. And I was like, interesting. And I put that in the back of my brain. Fast forward to next week. That weekend was a double thing. It was the first BT5 legal of weekend. There was the regional the Saturday, and there was the PPG, the online one, the Sunday. So I'm like, okay, so I need to play the best deck of the format for 2 tournaments in a row, and I got to do well with both. And I was looking at my options, and I'm like, Bushy is still a good card. Lord Nightmon and Angelomon and Blinding Rays are good cards. And Mastermon's a good card, and Zwart Defeat is effing insane. So, well, the very first weekend it was legal, I played Lord Knight Masty. It got me 9th at the regional, got me 2nd at the PPG, and we went. The game plan was pretty simple. It was a lot of people might not know how the format works, so I'll take advantage of them by just playing Lord Nightmon, but occasionally giving them a Mastermon to the face and winning out of nowhere. Mastermon Bushy GG. Mm-hmm. Occasionally we do Blinding Ray Bushy GG or Angelomon Bushy GG. Sometimes you evolve Zwart Defeat on top of Mastermon, and people are like, oh, yep. That happened a few times, and a couple of times, only twice the whole weekend, I got a Zwart Defeat in security, and I was like, oh, that's free. Cool. Anyway. But during that weekend in particular, between both tournaments, people were counting the amount of times I bushied for game, because I was putting really big emphasis on it. And I was like, this is actually going to turn into a meme. And I did well, both tournaments, with the same deck, with a few changes between both days. Whatever. So I was like, okay, cool. So proceed to now regional number 3. And I'm like, okay, I'm not playing Lord Knight again, because I actually want different content. Mm-hmm. I'm like, I could play Yellow-Green Rookie Rush. And I was thinking about that. And I'm like, but it's Yellow-Green Rookie Rush. People are kind of expecting that, sort of. So I'm like, you know what? Pure Yellow Rookie Rush, 4 Bushies, 4 Blinding Rays. We'll see how it goes. And we actually made the Bushy GG counter with the shades. And it was like, just every time I took a game with Bushy, it was just, we add one to the counter, and became 16th, and the chat was thrilled. I was thrilled. I'm like, wow, 3 in a row, and the game plan was really simple. You just play your deck until you get them to the spot where you can kill them Bushy, and then you do, and then chat loves it, and then I love it because I won. And that's where all that started anyway. That's where the Bushy GG meme came from.
Oh, that is incredible. And also, speaking of other memes, I heard that you have a fascination with big black block decks.
Okay, let me tell you guys. So back in BT1 format, black, no one talked about black. Okay, fine. But I was like, you know what? Black has a lot of big creatures. They have a lot of blockers. And the thought that came into my mind was I wanted to make a clickbaity YouTube title and thumbnail. And, well, we all know what big black block rhymes with. We already know. And I made fun of that multiple times in the same video so people knew what it was. And it's just kind of a meme that's also kept growing, because in set 1.5, we got Cranium, the ultimate big black block. And then just, you can literally just make so much fun of it whenever you want, and it's always funny 100% of the time. someone will get a kick out of it. And that's a meme that started, like, it got bigger than I thought it'd get, but it was honestly just because I wanted to build a black deck and I wanted to make a clickbaity YouTube title. And it worked. It worked.
Sure did.
Well, yeah, it really did. Yeah, I remember watching that video and I was like, did he really just... Oh my gosh. But Craniumon is great. But oh my god.
Yeah, some people have deemed me the most inappropriate Digimon content creator. I have heard those words multiple times, and I look at things and I hear other things that I say in my Twitch chats live and stuff, and I'm like, yeah,
Yep.
yeah, we don't hold anything back. We just go with it at this point.
We're coming for that title.
That's right.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. Spencer's definitely coming for that title, 100%.
All right. Okay.
Gotta up the ante now.
Yeah.
Yes. But with all the funniness and all the memes of Digimon, let's talk about a little bit of some of the serious topics. And with regionals, we got nationals. And I don't know how happy you were about us finally having a date for nationals, but like I was happy. Like I kind of figured it was going to be pushed back because of COVID, but like I was still happy. Now, the downside of it though, in my opinion, is that besides tech, I'll get to that later. But besides that, the nationals is going to be held through online webcam. So how do you feel about that?
The online, just speaking solely on the online webcam factor and nothing else, I do not like it. There is a reason that Konami has not done a remote dual nationals. They could have. They definitely could have. And I think they were trying remote dual YCSs to see what happened. But they have so many complaints. Like, you can tell Konami did not want to make Pasadena a remote dual YCS. But with the COVID numbers exploding and California saying, please don't do anything big in our state, I think they realized, okay, let's just shift back to a remote dual YCS maybe one or two more times. The problem is you just never know. You not only do you have to play the card game, and you gotta be attentive as you normally would, but you also have to look out for any potential nonsense. It's much easier to catch in real life because people still try it in real life. It's much easier to see, and it's not as often because it's much easier to come across. It's much easier to locate and pinpoint if it happens. Remote duels. Oh, I accidentally took my hand off the screen while I was doing a little hand shuffle real quick. Whatever. It's like, oh, okay, okay, oh no,
my Wi-Fi cut out and my camera cut off real quick.
Oh, don't even get me started. Like, it's and like people bothered me about it because I had a tendency of doing that without even realizing it. But like, if I'm live streaming my regionals, I am not cheating as I live stream my regionals.
Mm-hmm. All right.
You know what I mean? Oh man! But anyway, no, I don't like it at all. I think that they just should have pushed. They should have kept pushing until they could have done it in person. I definitely think that the online thing, they did it just, I think, for the players. The players needed a W, and having nationals is a W. But I'm not a big fan of it personally. But that's just me. I'm one person, and sure, the people are split on it. You can literally make a post on Facebook right now, or I could make a poll on YouTube right now and literally say, "How do you feel about nationals remote duel?" Huh? Mm-hmm. And it'll be split. I made a video on it. Basically, there was one video I made recently, and the comment section was divided, just straight divided. Like, one half of them was like, "This is great." One half of them was like, "This is not great." And then you had people all making comments, tack this, tack that, blah, 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 whatever, So I am I'm against it, but I think it's good for the community. It's just there's going to be shenanigans, and people are going to be
900 people too.
It's yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah, just from the webcam part of it alone. There's other parts about it I don't like, but the webcam part.
So why don't we tackle the tack debacle?
Yo, what a segue! Yeah, yo,
I'm Maestro over here. Okay.
What are your thoughts on how TAC handled everything, from the judges to not putting in the BCC ID at the very beginning for the Eventbrite registration?
I'm going to illustrate this with a story that happened with someone I know, aka myself. So they announced that they were doing their signups. Okay, whatever. I'm like, I'll try to be available. Problem is, one of my businesses is appointment based. So if I'm dealing with a client, I can't just say, "Hey, BRB, I gotta go sign up for Digimon Nationals." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So 15 minutes after the sign up went live is when I had an opportunity to go there, and it was, of course, sold out. And I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. How do you sell out on an invite only event? And then we found out that, oh yeah, anyone could sign up. And then I was with the throw hands for real. I was not impressed, and like I everything blew up. Like my messenger exploded. My Discord was going off, and it was just people were messaging me like, "Wow, you didn't get in! Oh my god!" And people were messaging me like, "Did you get in?" You know, people are like, "Can you believe this shit?" Like, just so much. Okay, so they messed up. They fixed it, but they messed up, and they should have never messed up. So that was strike one. Strike two came when when a situation happens in life and people get emotional about things. There is usually always escalation, right? Now we're dealing in a platform where Discord exists, and anyone can say anything, and that obviously did not go well for reasons we don't need to talk about right now. But we all know between racial comments and pedophile comments and just a whole slew of nonsense.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever.
It wasn't even nonsense. It was just disgusting behavior.
It didn't take long. It took 5 hours for TAC to basically do something about it, which I thought was too long. Yep. But anyway, they fixed it. You know what I mean? Over time, they refunded all the signups. Good for them. They fixed it so that you need a BCC ID. Good for them. And then later on, they banned the judges that were doing their nonsense, their derogatory comments. So technically, TAC ended up doing the right thing, but it was a hell of a journey to get there. And I think the only reason it went as swimmingly, in quotations, as it did, I think Core obviously helped out, and I think Bandai got wind of it, didn't acknowledge it publicly, but probably reached out to Core and said, "Hey, can you please do something?" And TAC obviously has a reputation of not shipping out prize support, being behind on prize support, having late tournaments. Like, starting a tournament of 900 people at 1 p.m. Eastern sucks.
Yep.
Big chunks. And having Top Cut start at 9 p.m. Eastern. Like, let's assume I play. Let's assume that I go to top 32. And, my business opens Monday morning at 8 a.m. I can't just, you know what I mean? If I make it all the way, I'm going home at 3 a.m.
And you also played for over 12 hours that day, too.
Yeah. So, another reason why I think they should have pushed it back, they should have done it at a venue where they could have started it just at 10 a.m., 11 a.m. in the time zone of the location that they choose in person. And then the top cuts could have started the next morning at 11 a.m. at the time zone of the location they choose. But no. Picking TAC, I don't know why they picked TAC. They definitely No.
Yeah, I don't agree.
Nope, it was a giant mess. And even though they fixed it, they're done. They're going to get a lot of flack for this for a very, very long time now.
Yeah, you think that Bandai is going to use tech again moving forward?
Unfortunately, probably. But I think people are going to be very hesitant.
Yeah, I think
because as far as Bandai goes, TAC fixed it. TAC fixed it.
I mean, the invite only one sold out within like minutes as well. Like Isaiah was playing in a tournament, like in a little tournament that we hosted in our server, and we got word that the invites that you could purchase registration with your invite and your BCC ID at a certain time. I think it was like 6 p.m. Eastern time or whatever it was that day.
Yeah.
But since Isaiah was playing, I had to sit there and keep refreshing until the second it came up, and then I was only able to get his invite before I could refresh it and see if I could go in and purchase another invite. So yeah, it was pretty wild, even at the second time around.
Yeah. Yep. No, it was just not handled well. It was not handled with anyone's consideration in mind. It was just.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I think Gyroshan brought up a really good point, though. I think Bandai only use tech because they're close to the same time zone. I bet you shipping from Japan is a lot cheaper to go to Australia than have to ship all the way to North America. He said logistics-wise, that's probably why they chose tech. But I don't know if I was Bandai, I would not use tech again. Definitely not.
Oh no, I would try to avoid it. Like, what's it worth to you? Is the savings of $100 in shipping worth the player base resiliency?
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's the question Bandai needs to ask themselves, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Right. Yeah, and I was telling Spencer, like, I was surprised that they picked TAC in the first place because in the last kind of Bandai sanctioned event, well, besides like the regionals and whatnot, was the October Pulsemon event, and they used Core TCG to like have like the product and the kind of set up like the tournament and whatnot. So I figured they was going to use the same people, but then I heard with TAC, I was like, oh, here we go. Okay.
Yeah. Okay,
and then
it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, hopefully, fingers crossed that they decide to go with Core TCG again for the next one if they have another huge tournament like that. That would
Hopefully.
be really nice. Yeah, hopefully. Yeah.
Yes. So another question that kind of comes to mind with shipping and whatnot. So word on the street is that Target has BT7 packs,
Mm-hmm.
and even though they can't necessarily like distribute them out now, they have to wait until I believe March 28th or no March 8th or something like that. At least for the US, I'm not sure. I know you're from Canada. I'm not sure if they have Target at Canada or not.
Nope.
But essentially, they have Target has these products now. But when it comes to other product, kind of like BT6 or even like the gift boxes, yeah, can't find them. Can't find them anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So what are your thoughts on that?
I'm going to be careful how I word this because being a store, I know some things. Definitely can confirm that BT7 product is in circulation. They probably delayed it because they didn't have enough of it for the release date. What ends up happening, so let's take BT6 for example. BT6 came out, and as you guys probably know, they did it in 2 waves for North America. I know I got 60% of my allocation on release date, November, whenever that was. And then I got the last 40%, whenever they decided that was. I don't remember anymore. The thing about you can't find anything else anywhere right now is it literally depends on how much they make and how much they can ship right now. They have an easier time. You never see too much at Target or Walmart or anything like that because there's just not much to ship, to be honest. But if there's some to ship, they'll give it to the big box retailers now that they can do that.
Mm-hmm.
It's just easier. It is what it is. You will barely find BT6 or now any other older set at a big store now going forward, just because they're not being made right now. They're making primarily the new product, and yes, they're always making something else on the side. Like technically, there's still another wave of Great Legends coming at some point. By the way, just so you know, and we don't know when that is. We don't know how big that is. We have no idea. It could be the smallest drop in the ocean. Nobody talks about it. Maybe every store gets a box or 2 or 3. Who knows? Or it could actually be huge. I don't know. Theorizing, considering BT4 came with a lot of cards that complement BT7, it's probably going to drop in February at some point. Massive speculation. I cannot confirm or deny that. But they're always making other things on the side. So when they're making the other things on the side, does a little drop of that go to the big box stores? Yeah, but how big is that little drop? It's not that big. So technically, it's just done through distributors, and they divvy it where it goes, and they just ship to whoever and whatever, basically.
I have a question about product. So I'm not going to oust this local. I don't want to oust you if you don't feel comfortable answering. You don't have to. But I went to a local card shop recently. Saw that they had a box of Battle of Omni. I asked them. I had some singles to trade in. They gave me a pretty good deal on my singles for trading credit, and I was like, "Can I just trade these in for that Battle of Omni and pay the difference?" Because I think I got like $50 trade-in credit. And I was like, I'll just pay the $15, $20 difference, whatever. And they're like, yeah, let me look at the price. And they said it's on sale right now for $110. So what are your thoughts? Not on I wouldn't call it scalping per se, but it's more like, how much do you think of an upcharge is a comfortable price to set for certain products?
This is actually a super interesting question.
Mm-hmm.
I will give it a super interesting answer, I hope. I made a poll in my Discord asking people, okay, I do Mario Circuit tournaments, you guys know that. I was offering BT6 product as the original prize for whatever. But I made a poll. I was like, hey, if I could offer you BT1, BT 1.5, Great Legends, or Double Diamond, what would you want?
They said BT1, I think.
Yeah, They did. So I'll make an announcement probably tonight, maybe tomorrow, saying, Circuit on Wednesday, BT1 prizing. Yeah. Yay. And we'll see what happens. But I specifically omitted BT5 from that. The reason I did that is because BT5 is completely sold out, every distributor, everywhere right now. Mm-hmm. There are 3 distributors across North America that do Digimon. There's Universal in Canada, that's the one I deal with, and then there's GTS and there's Alliance, I think, are the 2 in the States. But you cannot get BT5. You cannot order BT5 from any of them. It's gone. Finished. The reason it's gone and finished is because it had a not as high print run as the other sets. And I say the other sets, like BT1 technically didn't have a high print run either, but Bandai made more because, that was one of the biggest complaints when the game started. When is BT1? Mm-hmm. Fucking $300 a box, right? So they made more. They did make more. And I can order more right now. I did. Done. So there's that. That's just what it is. So with BT5, the fact that you can't order anymore, people, I think, maybe know that. Stores know that. Mm-hmm. And obviously, if it's the only product you can't get your hands on, they're going to charge it up. Now I don't do that. I sell everything for retail, or maybe slightly above retail, just to make
$5-10 more.
yeah, because small business, it's really freaking hard in COVID times.
Yep.
So if I can make an extra $5-10, people won't complain about it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, whatever. They're just happy to have cards in the first place, I think.
Yeah.
And they understand. They get it completely. But, you know, when the set comes out, it all goes to retail. If I have another box or two after that, like I had BT1 boxes here at one point. I only sold them for $10 higher than retail. Like, whatever. I don't really care. I'm keeping one box for myself from the original pre-release wave, just as a collector's item, just to see what happens. But I'm a very anti-scalp. I think that scalping is not nice. Unfortunately, it exists. Unfortunately, people will use scalping because it's easy, and they'll pay some of their bills or all of their bills with scalping. It is what it is. And I even made a joke at one point. A Mario's Scalping World video, because I went and I bought a whole poop ton of Pokemon products from all the Boville stores before the scalpers could in our area, because we have scalpers here too.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really funny. I stopped it after a while because while some people like died laughing about it, like that's just a fucking joke, some people actually got sensitive about it. So I'm like, you know what? It's best to just do this silently, not do it at all, and just let my current product that sit as from Walmart just sit and gain value, and then one day I'll sell it. Whatever. It's investable items. That was the whole point. It wasn't meant to be a scalping thing. It was meant to be just you scalpers can't get it.
Exactly.
And I'll just sit on it and I'll invest in it, and 2-3 years later we'll see what happens with it. Type deal. But yeah, scalping. No, the reason they probably did it with the BT5 is because they probably knew it. Unless they everything, then I think that's just not nice. But
yeah, I didn't check the other prices of the boxes. As soon as I heard $110 for a BT5 box, I was like, I could probably find this on eBay for $70-$75 right now. Win a bid if I really wanted to. So I was like, I'll just buy the starter decks that I came in for, and then head on my merry way.
Yep.
But that leads to my next question. So being a shop owner, we have the gift boxes right now, which are big retailers only. And I know it was celebrations, and I remember my local card shop owner, one of them, he came into Target, waited in line in the morning time, and they had the Pikachu playmats, the Pikachu V Union that came with a playmat inside. And he bought 4 of them just so he could have some in the shop to sell. I think he sold it for $5 or $10 more. I doubt he went over 15 more, but he still needed to make a profit because he bought it for MSRP. So I understand that. But what is it like to be a local card shop owner and then see these products be big retailer only? Is it frustrating? Do you come to
be honest, it sucks big black block. To be honest, unfortunately, it's just a world we live in with certain products. There's nothing we can do about it. You know, between exclusive EB Games items, exclusive Walmart items, exclusive Target items, it's just something they do to get business in other stores. It blows. I hate it. There's nothing we can do about it. Life moves on. Am I going to go to Walmart and buy them at retail just to sell them for $10 more? It's not really worth it to me. It's not really worth my time per se, because it's a very small card shop as is. But I understand that practice exists. I acknowledge it. I don't like it. But there's nothing I can do about it, so I go on my way, and that's it.
Yeah. Just wanted to get your thoughts on that, because I thought it was interesting that he came in and just bought the Pikachu V Unions, which were like, I think those were Target exclusives or something like that. And then went in and he kept one for himself, but he sold the other 3. I just thought that was really interesting.
Yep.
Yeah. Isaiah, do you have any more questions?
Yeah, I just have one more. So, as a YouTuber, streamer, multiple businessman,
Famous content creator.
Yes. Nationals invitee participant. Yeah, words are hard. Stay in school, kids. how do you keep like a schedule for yourself to like not just like have your brain just explode?
That's the deal. You have to have a schedule, or your brain will explode.
Mm-hmm.
I just plop everything on a calendar, and I do it. I'm actually running into an interesting situation that I told my stream. I had a 50-50 shot of nationals being an auto yes for me and a maybe no for me. And Saturday, the reason I couldn't do your tournament today is because it was payroll Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
And I do all my payroll on the Saturday because everyone's weekend's Friday. So I just do it all Saturday because I have to do it Saturday because I can't do it Sundays. So I had to do payroll today. So I had a 50-50 shot because I'm bi-weekly payroll that they were either going to pick a payroll weekend or they were not going to pick a payroll weekend. And go figure,
Mm-hmm.
they picked the payroll weekend. So there are some things that are just impossible. Some things just cannot happen. That's why I pick the content that I do right now. That's why I pick the battles that I pick right now. Because there are just some days at some time slots that don't work for me. I'm currently working on. Let's see, what's interesting is I was able to play in all the regionals because I managed to simplify my life a lot. But then I took on a new venture, and then that's when everything stopped. I was like, okay, can't do any more tournaments.
Mm-hmm.
I played in these regionals because I knew something was going to change at some point, but I got them in. Now we'll just see where the chips fall. And for a moment there, for a few weeks, I was like, I don't know what's going to happen. This is actually starting a brand new thing from scratch is super busy and super nerve-wracking. But managed to keep it all together, have a schedule, everything's fine. Do I know if I'm going to participate in nationals? Nope. Do I really feel like waking up at 4 a.m. in the morning, or starting to work at 4 a.m. in the morning just to do payroll, just so I can maybe finish at 1 p.m., just so I can play potentially 12 hours of Digimon?
Mm-hmm. Until 4 o'clock in the next morning, being up 24 hours.
It's not easy. And I even joked with my stream, we could do a payroll stream. I'll play Justmon during rounds, and then, because it'll be quick rounds with Justmon, I'll either win fast or I'll lose fast. And then I'll do payroll in between rounds. Won't show it anyone on screen, but I'll tell you guys what I'm doing. We'll socialize. And people are like, oh my god, payroll stream hype, let's go. So I have no idea what's going to happen at any point in time. But you have to keep a schedule. I work 80 hours a week. There's no sense in even trying to hide that. It's ridiculous. It's long. 7 days. Christmas, I took some time off. It was great. It was nice and relaxing. But it's back on the train. And unfortunately, I can't just take a Saturday off from payroll because people got to get paid.
Mm-hmm.
It's just one of those things. So pick my battles. If Nationals isn't a battle I can pick, then this is not a battle I can pick. But to answer your question, keep a schedule. Make sure you know what you're doing, and also try to make time for yourself. If you're working hard, Twitch streaming is really cool because it doesn't always feel like work. I can commentate a Guy Force gaming tournament or one of my own tournaments or any other tournament, and I can just zone out, relax, and just chill and talk to people and watch some Digimon.
Mm-hmm.
And then, technically, sure, do I count it as work? Depending on what I'm trying to do, yes. Mario Circuit tournaments are definitely work, but they're nice work. If I'm just 3 or 4 hours on a Guy Force gaming tournament, it's a nice little break. But I do schedule that in. And then as soon as that tournament is over, I'll work another hour or two, and then I'll go to bed. And then start all over again. So keep schedule, make a little bit of time for yourself. If you can, every day, give yourself a little breather. Because I've tried not doing that, and it causes you to self-destruct, and it's hard.
Yeah, one of my biggest takeaways, because I used to work a hell of a lot too. I don't know if I was pushing around 80 hours a week, and one of my general managers came up to me. He said, I see that you don't take breaks. And I was like, yeah, I'm saving up for this. I got this coming up. I want to save up for that. I want to buy this. I want to get a new car, this, that, and the third, blah, blah, blah. I was like, so I'll just forfeit my lunch break for a couple weeks and, get that extra little bit of time in. He said, if there's going to be one thing that you do, working this much overtime, working that much as you do, He said, "Don't let it be missing your breaks." He said, if a company offers you a break, take that break.
Yep.
And I couldn't agree more. Because breaks are essential to keep going. Because I pushed myself to my limit, and then I got burned out of that job really fast. And then it was more or less like me being like, okay, I'm tired of this job. Who's going to offer me more money? And then I'll go to the next job. And then, wash, rinse, repeat, burn myself out over there. And yeah, I definitely agree. Take your breaks.
It's really about long-term financial health, as well as long-term health, of course, is what we try to push always. But like, I'm working as hard as I'm working now, so that I'm 29 right now. When I go to my 50s, I want to be able to just retire.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is self-sustainable. I barely have to do any work, and I can just relax because I have other income sources coming in. Everything is passive, and it's fine. Right now, it's a big grind because everything I'm doing, if you think about it, is an investment of my time and my effort. And while I'm still getting big money, good money for it right now, everything I'm doing and working all the hours, so big paychecks and stuff like that, you cannot burn yourself out.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot. You just got to be careful with it. I know what my limits are now. I don't push those limits. I don't even try to push those limits anymore.
Yep.
And yeah, that's basically what it is. It's just my goal. Like, my goal is to retire in my 50s, but I also want to enjoy my life and be able to live freely and breathe freely while I'm doing that type of thing. And it's just right now working 80 hours a week, making the big dollars is the only way I can do that. And by investing the amount of time I'm investing in all my entrepreneurial things, they will blossom, they will grow, and then eventually I won't have to be there. When I, in 5-10 years, assuming everything is running, I don't have to be there in person.
Mm-hmm.
So I can work less and either do something else or focus on them in the background and then just rinse and repeat. Ideally, the long term goal is I'm just trading stocks for, my mornings. And then, I'll just spend my afternoon or evening just picking one business, probably the card business, and just doing my thing, see what happens. That's all I want to do. Eventually, I want to get back to 40 hours a week, but everything has to be self-sustainable before I do that.
Yeah, and you're still young, so it's still good to work a lot while you're still young as well.
Yeah, you do not
try it at 50 years old.
No, working 50 hours at 50 is a challenge already.
You're not working towards an early retirement. You're working towards an early death at that point.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I think that about does it for all my questions.
I have one more question.
Yep, go ahead.
Just one more question, and this is something that I ask everybody on our community spotlight. So, kind of to go back to Digimon, what is your favorite Digimon card based off of its ability, and what is your favorite Digimon card based on the design?
You already know, guys. It's Bushy GG, baby. Let's go. It's so simple. It's a game plan you can work around. All it says is rush. And all that's important to know is the rush and the freaking 5 cost. That's it. It's so simple, but it's a win button. It's a game plan all in itself. And you can mold around it, and I love it. Love it. And it also pulls my heartstrings a little bit because of the community impact with it. So, yep.
What about artwork wise?
Artwork wise, very interesting question. Thinking, processing. Artwork wise,
Omnimon.
Probably an Omnimon card. Not gonna lie.
Honestly, it's probably my favorite Omnimon. Is War Defeat.
It's very hard for me to pick. Alternate art Zwart Defeat is definitely one because it looks so freaking badass.
Yep.
But I'm also a big fan of Alt Art Omnimon X Antibody because of that nice card design, that retro nostalgic card design. That's really nice.
How could I forget about Ghost Omni? It's probably my favorite. That one
it is a nice,
gorgeous.
It is a nice looking card.
Mhm.
I think if I don't pick an Omnimon card, though, I'm trying not to pick an Omnimon card.
Mhm.
If I have to pick something that's not Agumon, it's Alternate Art Wargreymon from BT1. I love that art. He's just standing there in the red sun, dominance with a machine head through its claws. It's just, and the artwork is so well done.
Mhm.
It's so good.
That's when you get a playset of and just frame it up.
I do have a playset of it. It's definitely one of those. The original justification was, "Oh, I need 4. It's really good against security control." But it's a nice card anyway. I didn't mind getting the playset of it.
Yeah. I think that does it for all of our questions, Mario. Thank you so much for finding some time to come sit down and chat with us. We've held you on. You haven't beat our record of longest interview. Gyroshown holds that at an hour 31, I think. But you got really close. I think you beat Eli Hill, and I think you beat True Champ Steven. So keep that in your heart. Know that
I will concede to Sean, but it was fun being here. Thank you for you guys inviting me. I think what you're doing is great. Just keep it up, and maybe one day you'll get that Post Malone interview.
Oh yeah, that's what we're working towards.
Never give up hope.
Yeah, that was my one dream when we started this podcast, because I know he plays Magic the Gathering. Actually, Wizards of the Coast just teamed up with him, and he's doing like a year of Magic this year in 2022, I believe.
That sounds cool.
Postamon. There you go. Charizard is my favorite Pokemon, and Post Malone makes some bangers, so I had to get this.
Well, there we go. That ties a nice little ribbon on the top of this interview. Mario, thank you so much. You've been a great guest. We loved having you. Hopefully we can do this again soon, if you have time. Unfortunately, you can't go to Nationals and talk about that, but we'll be definitely hopping in your streams, giving the love and support, and hopefully seeing some bushy GGs. And we will see everyone in the next Community Spotlight.
Bye.